Alright, welcome to KMU whereis tutorials lesson 4. Today we'll be covering starting and stopping curly services and finding files. I'm your presenter Evans Stefanche Walia. Now let's go ahead and just take a quick look at some of the commands we're going to learn. So not a lot of commands in this video, only a few commands. So we're going to talk about find command, locate command, and which command. From there, we're going to talk about the service command and the systemctl command. So this service command deals with services. It's going to allow us to start and stop services on the fly. And the systemctl command is going to allow us to enable or disable services so that they can load up on boot or do not load up on boot. So let's talk a little bit more about services and look at how these commands can be useful for pen testing. So now there are a number of utilities that you can use, for instance, to locate files in Linux installation. So we're going to look at the most common commands, which are find command, locate, and which command. So now these utilities, find, locate, and which command, they have similar functionalities, but they can retain data differently. So I need you to take note that if you don't know the syntax of any command, you can just type in man and the name of the command. So for example, you can type in man, then locate. Then it can provide you with the manual page for locate, so to say. So now let me just bring up my terminal right here, and to start with, we'll start with locate command. So now, locate command, if we don't know anything about locate, we can just type in man locate. Great, let me just try to maximize my windows. Okay, so now you can see that it brings a manual page for locate command, which looks very organized. So you can see what the name of the syntax and the description. So now here it reads that locate basically reads files from the database, and it now displays the results from the database that matches the user queries. So the locate command in Linux is a powerful utility which can be used to quickly find files and directories by their names. So now, unlike the find command, which can search the entire system, the locate command basically it relies on a database that is updated periodically. Okay, so now in order for us to work hand in hand with locate, we need to update the database. Okay, so updating the database is very important because locate command works hand in hand with the database. Hence, it is very easy and it is faster compared to find command. So now let's say we're looking for a Windows file called spd.exe. So let me just quit here. Okay, so now I can just say locate spd.exe. Then now I can just press enter. Now here it has provided us with the path where we can find this actual file. So now this is the path where we can find this actual file. So we can go or navigate through this path which we have here for us to find this file, so to say, which is a Windows file. Okay, so this is how locate command basically works. Okay, so now talking about locate, let's move on and we talk about which command as well. So now which command is a very useful command as well in Linux system. which can be basically it can be used to find use for things as well. So now let's try to see which command can do. So we can just type in man, then which. Okay, so we can see again providing us with the name, the syntax, and the description. Okay, so now which command is very, very, very important because it is used to locate executable files. Okay, so I want you to take note that we can use which command if we are looking for an executable file. So if we are trying to look for executable file where we can find executable files, we need to use a which command, which is very, very useful when it comes to finding executable files. Okay, now let me just provide you with an example on how which works. So now we can just type in which, then we can use this $sign, then uppercase we just type in shell. Okay, so now here we can see that it is basically providing us with a shell which we are using. In this case, I'm using bin bash. On your case, you can be using Z, which is just okay as well. It is a shell as well. So now these are some of the commands which you can use if you are basically looking for files or finding files, so to say. So now, since I said that which command can be used to find executable files, let's see if I can find an executable file using which. So now I can type in which, then since I have knowledge about an executable file which I have, I can just type in Java. So you can see it has provided with me with Java, which is good here. Okay, so now let me type in these several commands. Okay, so let me just type in which, then I type in the executable files which I want which to show me the path. So I will just type in Java, then I type in man, then let me also type in Python, another. Okay, so now here, did you notice something? Here, if you can see, I gave it 4 arguments, but the result is which is displaying only 3. Okay, so this is because nada is not an executable file, so there is no output for that, as you can see. So if a file is not executable, so if the file is not executable, meaning which command won't display the path of that particular file. So if I type in which, then nada, nothing, okay? Nothing comes. So it can't provide me a path for nada. Why? Because it is not an executable file. But if I type in for man, so here I can see Java, man, and Python. So these, they are both executable files. Okay, so that's it for which command. Now let's move on to find command. So now let me just clear the terminal. So find command is a very, very important command, you know, and it is one of the most powerful tools in which Linux system administrators can use. You know, it basically searches for files and directories in a directory hierarchical based. So now it can be combined with other tools such as grep or seed and other tools as well. So basically the find command is very, very important as well. So the find command in Linux, as I said earlier, very, very powerful utility. So we can search for files, directories. It also allows users to perform complex searches and execute actions on the matched files. So now let's try to work on how we can deal with the find command. So I just type in man and find. So here is the manual page for find command. So you can see what the name of the syntax, even the description for man. Okay, so now here it is just displaying all the contents on how this man works. Okay, so it is very important for you to go through these notes or descriptions to see how this particular tool works. Okay, so now if you are done, you can just press Q to quit. Okay, so now let me try to find any file using a find command. So let's say you are looking for a file and you don't necessarily know where it is located, but you know that, okay, I have this file in my machine, but I don't really know where that particular file is located. Well, find command will find that file for you. So now let me just list the contents which I have. So now let me navigate to documents. Okay, so let me just try to list what is in documents. I don't have anything. So here I'll just create a directory. So let me just name my directory as incognito. Okay, so this is my directory, and I can cd or navigate to that directory which I've created. Okay, great. Now in this directory, I want to create a file. I want to create a file using touch, so I'll just say touch, then let me just say the name of the file will be aaron.txt. Okay, now let me just enter. We can list to confirm. Okay, so we have a file named aaron.txt. Now let me go back to my root system. So now here I just want to show you a trick in which you can use if you want to go back to your root. Okay, so one way you can do, you can use cd then dot dot. So dot dot, as I said in the past lessons or videos, I said that you can use dot dot if you want to go backwards a step. So now we can use slash again dot dot. So here this means basically we'll go backwards 2 steps. Okay, so when I just basically press enter, you can see I'm on root. Okay, so this is an easy way you can go back to the directory which you want to go, or to the folder which you want to go. So now on this directory, I'll try to find a file. Okay, so here this is the path for this particular file. Now let me just clear out the terminal. So let me say, okay, I've created that particular file which is aaron.txt. Now let me say I've forgotten where that particular file is. I don't know where that file is located. So for me to find that file, we will use find command so that we can know the path, or in a layman's language I can say, so that we can know the road where we're supposed to go in order for us to find the file which we're looking for. So now here I'll just type in find backslash, which is the base system of Kali Linux slash. Then now here I'll just type in hyphen name. Then now, since I know that particular file, I'll just type in Aaron, the name of the file, then asterisk. So this asterisk will basically help us in looking or finding that particular file where it is basically located. So you need to take note that, okay, find command, it can take a little bit of time. Why? Because it searches the entire file system of our Linux machine. Okay, so it is a very powerful tool, and it searches the entire system to look for that particular file. So it takes a little bit time compared to locate and reach. So find, it takes a lot of time when it comes to searching for our files. So now, as we are waiting here, we can see that, okay, the system is still looking for the same file, which is basically aaron.txt. Okay, so now you can try out this command, and basically it can hopefully work. Okay, so now I don't know the reason why it is taking too long. Okay, let me just try to cancel and just try to type in again. Okay, so it is just taking a little bit of time to look for that particular file. Okay, so now what you need to know is that there are a lot of commands or syntax, so to say, which we can use. There are a lot of syntax we can use when you are finding things using this same command. Okay, here if you want you can put a root. Here you can complete what you are trying to look for. So since it's just taking a little bit long, I know it works, but it is just taking a little bit long. So now let me just try to use another way. So let me just say full colon, then I just say Aaron. Okay, hopefully this will be a little bit fast. Okay, so now it's taking a little bit long, but these are valid commands which you can use to find for a particular file you're looking for. Okay, so now without wasting much of your time, let me just open another terminal here so that you can come and see if we'll find the particular file we're looking for. Okay, so let me just open up a new tab here. Okay, let me open up a new tab. As it's okay, so it's started. Okay, so permission denied. So let me just try again. Okay, so now here we can see this is our path. Okay, so here we have seen where our command is basically located. So it's in root documents incognito, then this particular file. So now here we have known the path of where this particular txt is located. Okay, so there are a lot of syntax you can use with find commands to look for things. Okay, so now as I said earlier, you can use man command, and you can also try to research on your own to see how you can play around with the find command. Alright, so now let's talk about starting and stopping services. Now let me just clear my terminal. Okay, so in Kali Linux there are a couple of different ways that we can basically start and stop services. So when we talk about a service and when we talk about a service, I'm talking about something like a web server or SSH or maybe a SQL database. So we'll cover this lesson today. Now basically I'm going to show you a few different services and how to start them and how to stop them. So I'll show you how to start them permanently on boot, and also we'll talk about which services are important to keep on boot and which services are basically important to just start when you feel like starting them, So now let's move on. Okay, so now let's just start with our first service, which is going to be Apache 2. Okay, we'll start with Apache 2, which is just basically a web server. So now let's just go ahead and do a proof of concept here. Okay, let me just do a proof of concept. So first let's start with a command that we learned in the earlier video, which is ifconfig. Okay, so now let's start with ifconfig so that we can find out our IP address. Okay, so now great. So now I'm going to grab this IP. I'm going to grab this IP version 4. Okay, I'm going to grab this address right here, and I'll just copy it. And now what I want to do, I want to go out to a web browser basically. Okay, I want to go to a web browser over here. So let me just go to a web browser so that I can just paste up my IP address. Okay, so that we can notice something here. Okay, so I just want to give you a proof of concept. So I'm just waiting for my web browser to basically load up. Okay, so now great, this is my web browser. Let me just wipe everything. Then now let me just paste my IP here. Okay, so now this is my IP address, as you can see. Now let me just indicate here, let me just say port 80. Okay, then let me just say enter. Okay, great. So now it says unable to connect. Okay, As you can see here, it says it is unable to connect. So this is basically expected because we are not running a web server. Now let's go back to our terminal and just say service. Let's go back to our terminal. We say service Apache 2, then start. Okay, so now here we're just basically starting our web server. Okay, so now let's go ahead and enter our IP address here. Okay, so this is our IP address. Then Apache by default, since it's running on port 80, so let me just refresh again. Now you have seen that our page has loaded up. Okay, you can see now that Apache 2 Debian has been loaded. So what has changed here? Well, when we boot up our machine, this Apache 2 is not going to run by default. Okay, so basically, if we wanted to run a page, actually, if I wanted to set up a service for it to work, as you just saw here, we have these files, we have these files, var, www, html, index, all these files. We can basically replace these files. Okay, well, we're going to try this format. Okay, we're going to try to replace these files and edit the var www html folder. So if we basically come here, we can see that this var folder, it basically appears when we come on the folder. So let me just click on this top folder. We see that, okay, we want to locate where this var is. So let me just click on the top folder there. Okay, then now let me just go to other locations. Then from there, I'll go to computers. Okay, so let me just bring up here. Okay, so it's loading. Let me just click on computer. Then let me go on. I'm looking for var. Here we go on var. Okay, so now from here I go to www. Okay, then HTML. Okay, so now you see that here we have index.html page. So HTML page is here, as we can see. Basically, maybe if we actually wanted to maybe host a malicious page and we have it pointed back to us, this is one way we might do it. If we want to save up some files, say we have something, that you want to upload to a machine that might be malicious, or just a file that you want to transfer to somebody else, or want to download another computer. So it doesn't have to be malicious. We could just host that file in this particular folder here. Okay, we can host that particular file in this particular folder right here. This is one way you can do it, right? But now you can put your files all in one location. But there is an easier way we can do it, and I'm going to show you that. Okay, there is a much easier way we can do it, and I'm going to show you that shortly. Okay, so now let's go back to our terminal. Okay, let's go back to our terminal. Okay, let's go back. So this is now our terminal. So now we see we have let me just list. We have documents here. So I'm just going to echo hello.text. Okay, I'm just going to echo hello.text. So let me just see. Let me cd to documents. Let me just cd to documents. Okay, let me see if I have anything. I want to remove everything which is in here. Okay, I want to make sure that, okay, I don't have anything. Then now let me just create a file here. Okay, then I'll just put hello, then I will pipe it. I'll pipe it to, let me just call it hello.txt. Okay, good. Now basically what I've done is that I've created a text file here, hello.txt. Now what we can actually do is we can spin up a web server. So we can just say Python dash the module and say simple HTTP server. Then we can auto tap on it and then we can say put it. Okay, so now let me do what I'm talking about here. So I just want to set up an HTTP server in this particular document. So I can just type in Python, okay, Python -m -m. Then now here I'll just say simple HTTP server. Then now I'll just say put 80. Okay, so now here we can see no module found. Okay, so I've just made a slight mistake here. So Python, then here we can see we've run simple HTTP. Okay, simple HTTP server. Okay, then now let me just type in put 80. Let me just try to. Okay, so now I don't have any module here. So for me to find a module, okay, I just want to show you something. Okay, still got no module. Okay, so now for example, let me just show you something here because I don't have a module. I think I've deleted that particular module. Okay, so now what I wanted to show you is that you can also set up a web server in your text documents, right? You can set up an HTTP server as well. So now for some reasons I don't have the module in that particular file. Okay, so now I hope you have gotten the concept. Which I'm trying to show you is that you can basically use Apache, since I said service Apache, then basically start. So here when I stop, let me stop. Okay, so service Apache stop. Okay, so failed to stop as Apache units not loaded. Okay, so let me just type in again. So service Apache 2. Okay, so that was an error. It's supposed to type 2. Service Apache 2. Okay, now if I come back to my web browser and I try to refresh, you will see that okay, that particular site or web server which you are hosting has gone. Okay, so this is now how you can start services. This is how you can stop services. Again, there's a command which I want to show you, which you can basically use if you want your services to be starting on boot. Okay, so for example, what you can do here, you can just say system. Okay, let's just say system. Okay, I've made a mistake. So systemctl. Okay, then you can say enable Apache 2. Okay, so great. So now what I've done is that even if I close my machine, I switch it off and I switch it on back, the service will basically load on boot. Okay, it will load on boot, so meaning the service will be running. Okay, it will be running throughout as long as my machine is up the service will be running as well. Okay, so if you want to start your system on boot, you can use this command. Okay, but for this case, it is not important for us to start our system on boot. Okay, so now let me just stop our system. So here I'll just say systemctl, then I'll just say disable. Okay, so then I've disabled the Apache 2. Okay, so this is how we can start services, and this is how you can basically stop services. Okay, so now these are the commands which I wanted to show you on how you can work around with this. Okay, so great. So now let's say I want to show you something here before we close our lesson. You know, there's what we call a post SQL, or should I say a post SQL. Okay, so post SQL it's a very, very important database. Okay, and we need to make sure that we enable post SQL. Okay, so now we can enable post SQL by just typing systemctl, then here we can just say post SQL, postgre. Okay, so postgre SQL. Okay, so this is a very, very important database which you need to enable, because when we're starting tools, for example, tools like Metasploit, you know, we need to make sure that our Postgres SQL it is running. Why? This is because it will speed up the process on when you are trying to run this particular powerful Metasploitable framework. Okay, so we need to make sure that our system CTL for Postgres SQL or Postgres SQL is up. Okay, so now this is it for our lesson. In the next video, we are going to be talking about installing, on how we can install things from GitHub. You know, how we can install things using apt-get. So now this is what we explore in the next video. Thank you for being with me, and this marks the end of our lesson.